So, hi everyone. Welcome to DrupalCon and thank you for joining this session. So, I hope you all are having a great time at this virtual DrupalCon. It's my first DrupalCon. I'm really excited and I really had a great this 2 days time at DrupalCon. There were great events, a lot to learn. So, yeah, here we are. So, we'll be so, thank you for joining this session. We'll be talking about this automated tests in Drupal. So, before just starting, I'll just introduce myself. So, my name is Ridhima Brol. I work as a Drupal developer at Trojan Technologies. I'm based out of India, and I've been into Drupal. My journey with Drupal started in 2017. So, it's not been a very long journey, but obviously, it's been a great one. So, and I'm looking forward to learn more into it, deep dive more into this technology. There's still a lot more to learn. So yeah, and this is my d.org profile and my Twitter handle, Ridhima24. I would love to connect with all of you apart from connect on this session, and apart from this generally also I love to connect with all of you. So yeah, that was about me. So now next, I'm presenting with my co-host Sujit Kumar Verma. He also works as a senior Drupal developer at Trojan Technologies, and he has 5+ experience with this technology. And this is his d.org profile and Twitter handle, V Sujit Kumar. So as I said, we would love to connect with all of you offline on where you guys can reach out to us at our Twitter handles anytime. So let's start. So let's look at what all we are going to cover today. So we'll be looking at what automated tests are, what is the difference between simple test framework that we had in Drupal 7 and the PHP unit test framework that we have from Drupal 8 onwards. Then we'll primarily be talking about PHP unit test framework. So we'll see about the different test categories that we have in Drupal, and then we'll see how to set up the test framework on our local machines. So how to set up our local systems so that we can run the tests on our local machines, and then we'll see each kind of test type in detail. We'll see about like the difference in all of those, and in what situations, what scenarios, which test you should write. So, coming to what automated tests are. So, automated testing basically it's the process of writing code to reduce the number of things we manually perform when we develop our applications, or we deploy our code. So whenever, so there's always some set of scripted set of tasks. So there's always a checklist, you can say, which we go through when we deploy our code or when we build our applications. So all those checklist or all those steps that we manually perform, we write it in the form of code, and so that every time our application starts running, these tests run in the background. So it really helps in to improve the stability of our applications, because it tells us our mistakes, or it tells us that where our code can fail in the early stages. So obviously in manual testing there always some human errors can be there, so this really increase the stability of our applications. Also as we keep developing, as our code base keeps growing, there are more and more complex functionalities that are added into our code base. So these automated tests make sure that your current functionalities or your existing functionalities do not break because of maybe for example that I have a functionality, a working functionality, and then I'm building a new functionality, but I have to make some changes to my old code as well, my existing code. So these automated tests make sure that your existing code don't break, because they expect the same result every time. So yeah, they really increase the performance and stability of your applications. So we'll see about how to write these automated tests in Drupal. So just an example of the difference between, we'll see the difference between manual testing and automated tests. So in manual testing, for example, so you create a checklist. As I said, you create a checklist whenever you deploy your code or whenever you build your applications. So for example, you have to check that there is a login link on the front page. So you have some certain steps. You'll go to the page, you'll see the login link, and all those steps you have that checklist. So what I'll do, whenever I'll go and do some development in my code base. So after doing the development, after doing that changes, again a QA will come and he'll go through that checklist and he'll see that if everything works or not. So this is the process that we generally follow in our projects. So there's always a chance of some human error. Plus, we spend a lot of time doing a manual QA. So automated testing really helps us there. So same example with automated testing. So in automated testing, that the checklist that you created, you write it in the form of code, you write it in the form of executable code. So whenever your applications run, these automated tests run in the background. So again, the same example, that there's a login link on the page, you go and do some development, and you don't have to come back and see that whether that login link is working fine or not. Your automated test that you have written once will do that for you. And if there are any errors or any warnings, they'll throw it there itself. So that was all about automated testing, and it's really important these days. And more people are writing these automated tests in their projects. So now we'll see the difference between the simple test and the PHP unit test framework. So simple test framework was there in Drupal 7, and it had just one kind of test. So basically it was used to test your end-to-end functionalities. So there was just one kind of test. Learning these tests were easy, but there was one downside to it, and that was the performance. So why the performance was not good? So in simple test, as I said, that there was just one kind of test. So it didn't really matter that what you are testing. Maybe you have to just test your one function, one simple PHP function, but you'll have to write the same kind of test. So you'll have to install Drupal each time, you'll have to install the modules, and you'll have to follow all those steps. So that's why the performance was not good in simple test, and hence in Drupal 8 Drupal moved to PHP unit framework. It was introduced in Drupal 8. Also, this framework, PHP unit testing framework, it's commonly available. It's present in other PHP frameworks, for example, Laravel and Symfony. So that's a more generic approach, and hence we are using it in Drupal as well. So in PHP unit, you have different test categories. So it matters that what kind of functionality you are testing. Where are you testing a small function? Are you just testing a PHP logic? So you have a separate test for that. If you have to test the whole functionality, if you have to test a browser based functionality, so that has a different kind of test. So we'll see in detail that in what scenario, in what situation, which kind of test needs to be written. And that's really important to identify that what kind of test we need to write. So obviously we need to learn how to write each kind of test. And the main advantage that we had here, the performance really improved as compared to simple test. So now we'll look at the PHP unit test framework in detail. So in Drupal, PHP unit test framework has 4 categories. So we have unit test, kernel test, functional tests, and functional JavaScript tests. We'll see about each of these tests in detail, and we'll see the examples of each of type. We'll see how to write these tests. So before actually learning about each kind of test, or before actually writing each kind of test, this step is very important. So we need to actually set up the test framework on our local machines. So if we do not have the setup on our local machines, we cannot identify that are we going in the right direction, are we writing the correct tests or not. So that's really important. Drupal, there is a tool, Drupal CLI, for it, but you cannot go after just making a small change in your code. You cannot every time go to that tool, and you'll not upload your code every time there and check whether it's working or not. So for that, it's very important to set up the local systems. So what you'll have to do, we have to configure the PHP unit. So whenever we install Drupal, there's a file named php unit.xml.dist file. So this is present inside our core directory. So what we'll do, we'll copy this file into phpunit.xml file, and we'll edit the file and make few changes. So we'll have to input some values. So first one is the simple test base URL. So this is the URL of your site. You have to input the URL here. Then there's simple test DB. You have to enter your DB credentials here and the name of your database, so that your PHP unit test can connect with your database. And then you can see there's one more variable, browser test output directory. So this is important when we are running browser based tests. So you'll see later that your functional and functional JavaScript tests, they are browser based tests. So whenever we run these browser based tests, there is a set of HTML output that is generated. So we have to all those HTML files are saved within this browser output directory. Hence, we have to create this output directory as well. So we'll input the path of the browser output directory here, and we'll save this file. After that, you have to create this browser output directory. It will be created inside your sites simple test folder, and here is the browser output directory. And you will give this directory writable permissions. So once you have done this, you can see that your setup is complete. It's not a very big setup, just few things has to be done. So you have to do these steps and your setup is done. After this, we can verify this. So we'll run the tests on our local. We can navigate to your Go directory, and then you can run your test by running this command. So for example, I have to run this to test. So I'll be using this command for that. So this is how we set up our systems, local machines to run the test, and this is how we run the tests. So now moving forward to the directory structure for tests. So if you guys have any question, please leave them in the Q&A section, and we'll address them at the end of the presentation. So this is the directory structure that we have. Inside your module directory, there's a test directory, and inside the test directory, there is a source directory. So inside source directory, there is a directory for each kind of test. So there's one functional directory, functional JavaScript, kernel, and unit directory. And inside each directory is lies your test file. So for example, inside your functional test, all your functional test files will lie. So similarly for these three as well. So this is the this is the standard directory structure that we follow in Drupal for including our tests. So now moving in detail about each of the tests. So we'll learn about each of the tests. So starting with the functional tests. So functional tests, first of all, they are similar to what we used to write in Drupal 7 with simple test framework. So I already mentioned that simple test framework write one kind of test. So they are basically to test your end-to-end functionality. Similar is the case with functional tests. So functional tests are there to test your end-to-end functionality. They are called full stack or integration tests. Basically, they put all pieces of their software together and they execute them. So whenever you write a functional test, you can think from a perspective of an end user who is attempting to perform some tasks on your site, or who is attempting to use some functionality that you have developed in your application. So so for example, uh, there's a user who is going and checking that is my block page visible, can I see the block listing page on my site. So maybe you can say an editor has to check this functionality. So what you'll do, you'll write those steps, and you'll write those steps in the form of code. So I'll go to my test and I'll write that I'll first log in as an admin, then I'll create one editor user, then I'll log in with that editor user, then I'll navigate to that blog page, and then I'll check the status code that whether that page is visible to the editor or not. So are the permissions correct or not? So this is how we write. This was the example of functional test. This is how we write functional tests. So and one more thing, writing these tests are the most easiest ones, because there's a set of tasks that a user will perform. So you just have to write those tasks or steps in the form of code. So writing these tests is very easy, like the most easiest one. I won't say very easy, but yeah. So these are functional tests. So we'll see how to write these tests. So before going to an example of functional test, there's some annotations that are provided by PHP unit testing framework. So they provide us with different annotations that can be used when we write our tests. So the most common one that you will find around is the @group annotation. So basically, this annotation is used to categorize our tests, categorize the tests into various categories. So into the same category. So if I have to run a test of similar category, so I can use this group annotation in my command, and it will run the all the tests that are under one group. So here you can see that we have used my module as the name of the group. So it can be anything as per your requirement. So these annotations can be used. There are various other annotations. You can check their official page or official documentation to refer to these annotations. So now here I have defined one class settings page test. So just by one more thing, just by including your test file inside your functional directory, as I mentioned that it has to be your functional test lies inside your functional directory. So just by including your test inside that directory does not tell Drupal that it is a functional test. So how will Drupal recognize that yes, this test is a functional test? So for that, Drupal provides us with some basic classes, some base classes that are already written in Drupal core. So our tests have to be extended from those base classes. So for functional tests, there is a browser test base class. So all functional tests, you will see that they are extended from the browser test base class. So this is important. And for each kind of test, there is a separate base class that is provided to us by Drupal core. So now we'll see one example. So what I've written here, I've written a block layout to test class. So what I'm testing here is that on my block page, on my block listing page, that is the tour are the tooltips present and are they working as per my expectation. So there are two. It's related to the tour module. The tour it gives the tour of the page to a new user. So my test is actually testing that on my blog page, is that tour present and is it working as per my expectations? Sorry. So what I'm doing here, I've defined one admin user. Then defined one static $modules variable, and I have enabled this two modules. So inside this $modules, what we write those modules that we actually need to write our test. So block and tour module. So previously I said that for these are full integration tests. So you have to install Drupal and you have to install all the modules. But installing all the modules doesn't mean that we'll install each and every module. We'll install only those modules as which are required by us, which are required by the test we are writing. So here I required block and tour module, and hence I have enabled these modules. Then you will have to define your default theme, the theme that you want your test to actually your test to work on, in which theme. So here I've defined Stack as the default theme. So after this, you'll see that there's a setup method that is present in all the tests. So setup method, basically it is used to add any configuration. So basically any configuration that is required prior to executing our tests. So if I have 3 or 4 test methods written in my class, so before executing each test method, this setup method is called. Like each time a test method is executed, before that, this setup method is called and this is executed. So you can see here that I have created one user with appropriate set of permissions, and then I'm logging into this user, and then I have placed this block on my site. So this is the setup method. After just by doing this much, like I have defined all the variables and I have written the setup method. If I run my code, if I run my test on my terminal, I will be given this error that no tests found in class. So obviously, because we didn't write any test method yet. But again, this is the one good thing that we can identify here is that Drupal identified our class. Drupal identified our test. So now we'll write the test method. So as I already mentioned that I am testing the two-tip functionality here. So what I am doing, I have written a test method here, test block layout two tips. Okay, one more thing, the naming convention of this method is important. So your test method has to start with the keyword test. if if I don't write this test keyword, I just write block layout two tips without this test keyword, it will not treat it will not treat my method as the test method, so it will not execute it. So hence this test keyword is really important when we write our test methods. So what I'm doing here, I navigated to the block page, and I am checking that my two tips are, I'm using this function assert two tips. So I'm checking that my two tips are working as per my expectation. So again, this assert two tips is present in my base class. So my base class was two test base, so it's present in that. And in that method, if you go and see, you will see that it is checking all the tips are present or not, or the links are present, the data is present or not. So again, this PHP unit provides us with various assert methods as well. So you will see assert equal, assert not equal, assert session, many such assert methods, which are actually used to test that whether my output is actually equal to the expected output that we actually expect. So these methods are really helpful, and these are present in almost all the base classes that Drupal has, test-based classes. So that was all about functional test. That is how we write functional test. And one last thing, that function, if you need to test any JavaScript behavior, then you cannot rely on functional test. For that, you'll have to write functional JavaScript tests, about which we will talk in the later slides. So these tests do not render any JavaScript behavior. Okay, so that was all about functional tests. So moving on to the next test, that is unit test. So in functional test, we were testing the whole functionality, the end-to-end functionality. But in unit test, basically they test the smallest part of your code. So smallest part of your code can be your classes, your functions, your methods. So it tests that part. Basically, unit test tests the logic, the PHP logic that we write. And again, it does not involve any Drupal interaction, so it tests that part of your code that can run without Drupal. If in your test case you feel that there is need of any Drupal interaction, for example any Drupal hooks or any Drupal services or any Drupal modules, say, so in that case unit test cannot be written. So unit test, basically they are the fastest, they run in a millisecond time, and they are just to test your PHP code, PHP logics, and PHP functions and classes. So we'll see how to write these unit tests. As functional tests were derived from browser test-based class, similarly, your unit tests are derived from unit test case class. So unit test case class is the base class for unit test. It is extended from unit test class. And what I'm testing here, I'm testing the set length and get length method of my unit class. So what, you can see here that there are no modules, no Drupal interaction is here, and hence I have used the unit test here. So what I am doing here, I'm in my setup method, I'm creating a new object unit, this of type unit. So what I'm doing in my test method, I am testing the set length. I have set this length of my object as 9, and then I'm checking by this assert equal method that this 9, the expected output 9, should be equal to what I get from this get length method. So this get length should return 9, and hence this test should pass. Similarly, what I'm doing in the next line, I've again assigned the length of this object by a set length method as 10, and now I'm checking by assert not equal that the expected output 9 should not be equal to the this 10. So assert not equal, we are using assert not equal, and hence this should not be equal to this, and that hence this test will pass. So that was all about unit tests. So Again, if you have any questions, please write down in the Q&A section, and I'll leave the next part to my co-speaker Sujit. So he'll take you through the next tests. Thank you.
Thank you, Ridhima. Hello, everyone. Kernel test. So, kernel test sit in between functional and unit test. As we know that functional test is end-to-end process, means complete process, and unit test is basically test function method. In other words, we can say that the part of your code that can run without Drupal. So all these comes under kernel test. Kernel tests are not fully integration test like functional test, nor do they have a granular scope of unit test. Furthermore, kernel test do not guarantee a working UI. Often, you all need to test part of your module that interact with Drupal, but do not need a UI. This includes using hooks, services, plugins, and anything API side with Drupal. So these terms comes under kernel test. So this is all about kernel test. Kernel test. When it is appropriate to use kernel test. So test does not require browser access. Means we have if your test does not need the internal browser and web access to the Drupal side, uh, means browser not required. Also, no need to access your Drupal side. Next is testing the behavior of a class or a function only. If you are testing a expected behavior of a particular class or function only, in that case we can write a kernel test. Next, test required any Drupal interaction. If you need to enable or even install a module in order to test a function, for example, install the configuration and a database table. In that case, also we can write a kernel test. The functionality can't be tested by unit test. If the functionality you are testing cannot be properly injected into a unit test, in that case also we are using kernel test. So these are the condition must be true for kernel test, we can say. Next, when it is not appropriate to use. In all dependency can be injected into a unit test. So if you can properly inject all the dependencies with the mocked service into a unit test, and other is if you need the internal browser uh, or not required for the kernel test. And the next is if the functionality you are testing could behave differently in a fully installed Drupal environment. So this is all the condition when it is not appropriate to use the kernel test. So we have an example related to kernel test. As we can see in this example, extended kernel test base class. So all the required method for testing related to kernel test written here. In this example, we are testing the configuration language name methods. In the first line, we took random machine name. If we check in the function, then we uh, get the random machine name, and then in the next line we get the configuration language. In the configuration language is the third line, and the second line we are getting the language code. Now put all the variable inside the configuration language uh, and get the configuration language here. In the next line we are checking assert equal, means from the configuration language name and our random machine name are equal or not. And the lifeline also, we first set the language and then test both the language are equal or not. So this is how we can write the kernel test. And so this is all about the kernel test. Next is functional JavaScript test. For running any functional JavaScript test, we need to talk about some basic requirement first, like a browser, Google Chrome or Chromium, and the driver, like Chrome driver. For run the functional JavaScript test, both the applications are required, and run the Chrome driver on the port 4444. But first we need to install and run both the application on our local system, and then run the test. So first, so we can say that the main difference from the test and functional test are executed in a real browser. JavaScript behavior are executed, meaning the test will have the same experience and requirement that you have in a normal browser. So this is all about JavaScript test. One more thing, we have to add uh, one one line in the PHP unit XML file, like Mink driver, arg web driver. So this is the and variable environment variable. We have to put the value here, like a browser name and all the details related to the link. So this is how we can set up a functional JavaScript test and run after that. So we have attached an example. Let's move the. So in this slide, uh, before start, first need to understand about the example. So it is basically related to media module and contextual links available on media page or not. So in this example, we have a class media contextual link test, and we are extending another class media JavaScript test base class. So if you go inside the media JavaScript test base class, it is extended the web driver test base class. And if you check web driver test base class, it is finally uh, extended by the browser test base. So we can say that browser test base class is necessary for functional JavaScript test also. So now come to the test method. First create a media type. Can Thank you. First we create the media type, and then create a media item, and then create a user with appropriate permission. After that, we log in with this user and access the media page. In the next three line, we are checking that the contextual links block is available over there or not. And once we get that contextual link block there, then we uh, show, basically it is disabled. First we have to enable it by pressing button, and then we check the links available over there or not. Like we have a edit link, we have a update metadata, we have a delete link. So for these links, we have some assessment methods also. So we check according to that, like assert session and element attribute contains. So basically here we are checking with the CSS part. So this is all about the functional JavaScript test. And thank you everyone. That's all from our end. We have added a link for our feedback form. Please share your valuable feedback. It will help to understand, to improve our skills and knowledge. Now we are open for questions. Thank you once again.
Ridhima, Sujit, there are questions in live Q&A.
Yeah, sure, we were looking at it.
Okay.
So I see there's a question from Alvaro that is it actually needed to do a chmod minus r 777 on the browser output directory? So yeah, that's important because we need to give writable permissions to our browser output directory. So by default, whenever, because that output directory, we ourselves create that directory, so it's not a writable directory, so we have to make that directory writable, and hence those permissions are required because our HTML outputs will be generated within that browser, within that directory. So again, one more question from Alvaro, that how do you do functional tests depending on content? You add default content or you create it in the test itself? So no, we don't do it by default content. We have to create the content inside the test itself. All your content has to be, your dummy content has to be created within the test itself. Or if not even dummy, if you are getting it from, you are accessing it from the site, you have to do it within the test itself. So again, one more question from Alvaro. Thank you for asking so many questions. And more about default content. Is it possible to create content based on paragraphs for functional tests? So yeah, as I mentioned that you have to create all the content within the test. You can create any kind of content. You can create content based on paragraphs as well, but you have to, that content has to be created within the test itself. I hope that answers your question, Alvaro. And if there are any other questions, or if you feel you are not that much satisfied, we can connect offline, and also we are present at the Srujan booth. We can connect there as well. Okay, so there's one question from Yasser. Together with functional and unit tests, do you use PHP code sniffer or PHP stand? So uh, personally, I use PHP code sniffer for that. Okay, so there's one more question. There's a question from Ricardo. Functional tests use a complete Drupal site. Do they use an already installed site, or do they install a new site whenever tests are run? Yeah, they use a complete site. So they, whenever functional tests are run, your new site is installed each time. So there's one variable that you can define within your test class, that is dollar profile variable. You can check on that. So if you need to, you can mention in that profile that what profile do you want to set up. Is your requirement fulfilled? If your requirement can be fulfilled by minimal profile, you can install that. But by default, the standard, the tests are, whenever the functional tests are run, by default standard profile is installed. So if you want any other profile other than your standard profile, you can always define it in that variable. But yes, the tests install the site each time separately. So there's a question from Nisad that can you show a short demo? Does the browser test act as a simulator? So I don't think so. A demo will be possible here. We'll have to do the full setup. So as I said that we can do it after this session. We can connect at this portal, DrupalCon portal, or we are available at Srujan booth also. Okay, there's one more question from Ricardo. Sujit, would you like to answer this? What is your opinion on Behat and acceptance tests? I'm not very confident about this one. What is your opinion on Behat and acceptance tests?
So I have also, as of now, not a complete answer here.
So I
So
don't
we
think
can,
so, Ricardo. We have much knowledge on that. I think we'll have to look into that one. Sorry for that.
So we have
Uh,
a next question from Alastair.
yeah.
Have you any experience of using Selenium for JavaScript test? Any pros cons of that versus Chrome driver? So, Alistair, we are using Chrome driver only, uh, but in the future we are trying to do with the Selenium also. Then I think let you know about pros and cons related to that.
Okay, so there's one more question from Yasser. Do you run tests as a part of CI/CD implementation? If so, do you have automated gates? Example, deploy to prod on 90% test success. So uh, actually, no, I haven't implemented. We haven't implemented tests on uh, like on various live projects. We haven't been doing that, so I'm not very sure about it. But yeah, I guess there is some automated gates that on this person's success only it will pass. Moreover, I don't think like if you are the percentage that you're talking about, it is regarding like if there are 5 tests, your 4 tests are passing or not. It can't be that in a single test some part of your test pass and we'll pass that. No, that is not the case. Again, there's one question about Bihar testing. Not very sure about that.
So, Ridma, we will let them know about later, I think,
The Bihar
about
test, yeah,
about the
right.
Bihar testing.
Yeah, sure. We'll surely let you know. Also, we are available at our Twitter handles as well. We can connect more on there as well.
Yeah.
We'll see for some other questions. How would you define and run a bunch of tests? I'm not very sure about this question. Like I didn't get this question.
Actually, Ridhima, you initially discussed about the group notation, right? So
Yeah.
I think this is related to that. Uh,
How would you define and
a
run a
bunch of
bunch of
tests.
tests? Okay, so there are yeah. So for that case, your group command can be used. So how to use that command? Do you have the exact command, Sujit?
Not as of now, but there's a notation. We need to add this notation and run the
Yeah, if you
command.
want to run particular group of tests together, so as I already show you there that the command, after that command you will have to input one variable minus minus group, and you can write the name of that group, so it will run all the tests inside that group. Will
Um,
you is
we have
available? It would be
another question. Will you make your slides available? It would be good to refer the
yes,
these in the future.
we'll make these slides available. I'll post them in the DrupalCon Slack channel as well. Plus, we'll post it on our Drupal handles as well, and we'll tag DrupalCon Europe in that, so you can anytime refer to those slides. So this is done. Again, Nisit is asking for a demo. We can have that offline, I guess, Nisit. It won't be possible right now.
I think we are done with all the questions and with the time
Yeah.
as well. Just 40 seconds left.
Okay, so thank you everyone. Thank you for joining this session. Do let us know how you felt about the session. And we are present at the Srijan booth as well. And plus, we are there. We can connect in the meeting hub as well. Thank you. Thank you for joining the session.